Yeah, so there are periods where we may have a lot of amplified thinking patterns, anxiety, maybe some like neurotic thinking, overthinking, this sort of thing. As the energy moves up into the head, it can also bring about insomnia. It can bring about the inability to really just be calm, steady, focused on one thing. And
Mm.
eventually, yes, I would say that the aim is that this phase does pass, and we do come to a point where our mind becomes a tool that we use when necessary rather than this nonstop sort of engine that's running unnecessarily. It's idling at times. So we do come to a point, for the most part, where our mind does generally become quite quiet, quite present, quite focused. We can use it when necessary to think and mull over a problem. And then when it's resolved or we're not needing to think so much, we can just return back into the present moment and kind of, turn that engine off. And so that point does come. You can look forward to that. You can also look forward to any little moments where you do experience that. So often it's not that the mind is running 24/7. There may be brief windows, a few seconds, a few minutes, where you find that you ate an entire meal and there was no thinking really happening. Pay attention to those periods as well, and that can give you some hope. Often we want to think, like I was saying in the previous answer, black and white. It's either the mind is running 24/7 or not at all. There are windows where things get quiet. So pay attention to those windows as well. And you may also notice that certain things will trigger a more active mind. If you say, for example, fast, this may start causing a lot of activity to happen, and you could just anticipate these things. So you may know, okay, I'm going to go for a whole day without eating. I can anticipate a little bit of difficulty going to sleep, a little bit of a racing mind, and it's not a problem. It's not a problem. So these are some other ways that you can kind of work with the system in a conscious way and use things like diet, exercise, et cetera, to also sort of manage the thinking patterns and whatnot. But in an overarching way, my invitation is to say, look, it's okay to overthink. It's okay. It's uncomfortable, but we can snap out of those patterns by first being okay with it. It's okay. It's not that you're a bad spiritual person or something if you're thinking a lot. It's not a problem at all. And from that place, then paradoxically, the mind says, okay, well, maybe I don't have to think so much. The mind is like a little child. It just wants a little bit of attention and to be accepted and validated. And when it's given that, then it can kind of, relax. It doesn't need to be so loud. So these are some ideas that you can think about. I think you were also speaking about the energy in the head. Does it balance out? Um, I
Mm.
would say that there comes a point where the nervous system becomes acclimated to the energy flow and it's quite seamless and integrated and it's not like a big deal. In the beginning, it's a very big deal. The nervous system has never experienced such a huge influx of energy, so it can be quite intense. But eventually, it appears to have calmed down. But in actuality, we could look at it that it didn't calm down. You just got used to it, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
acclimatized.
Right. It acclimatized. Yes.
Mm.
And so at times you may find that depending on what you're doing, certain areas may become activated. Uh, um, so like for me right now, my head is quite activated. It's the center of intuition, and I'm feeling, some tingling and whatnot. But it's not a problem for me because I know it's serving a purpose. There's energy, serving a purpose up here for me to do this work.
Mm.
So we can keep that in mind as well.
Mm, great. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, you're
Are
welcome.
you not drinking any caffeine as well now? Are you just completely teetotal on the
I drink
caffeine front?
caffeine maybe once or twice a week. Um, and I prepare myself. For me, it's like I'm going on a psychedelic trip. I'm like, okay, what's the time? What have I got to do? Okay, I'm gonna
Mm.
make sure that I do that work, and not just mull around, like sitting around, allowing my mind to ramble about, anxious things. So I approach it in a conscious way. And it's a useful tool. One thing you can think about is, monks would drink tea to keep them awake during long meditation sittings. And it's a useful tool. It's not like at the end of the world, but it does come with a downside, which it can disrupt the mind's activity a little bit.